What is Loxism? Loxism is the Jews' hatred not merely of Gentiles, but specifically of white people. Loxism is the most powerful form of racial hatred on the planet, and yet it is never mentioned by the mainstream news media. You suck at parking. Seriously, the way you pulled in makes me wish your dad pulled out. There are lines for a reason. Have a nice day. Smart meters don't burn trees. Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democrat answer, but the correct answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. Let us accept our responsibility for the future. Garda member quits after claiming force is riddled with corruption. What, you mean the Irish police is as corrupt as the British? Well, who'd have thought, eh? A Garda member is quitting his job claiming that the force is systematically corrupt. The whistleblower cited issues with bullying and harassment as well as corruption as reasons for him wanting out. He also claims that he hasn't been paid in 4 years, according to the Irish Examiner. The unnamed former Garda claims there is endemic abuse of licensing laws in Munster. He claims he was forced out on sick leave after he blew the whistle on what he claims were licensing law abuse, as well as abuses of the Garda record system Pulse by his colleagues. An investigation was then launched into the allegations. After asking to be let go, he claims he was told he couldn't leave while the investigation was underway. So an investigation was launched, and we investigated ourselves, and we found we did nothing wrong. You can see it coming, can't you? Remember me saying, get ready for false flags? Well, I couldn't find a date on this, but this was quite recent. Diligent. Governance is hard. Diligent provides tools and insights to empower communication diligent corporations. Amisville. Seeking actors for ongoing live role-playing project. Current paid. Hostile environment awareness training. Heat. Location, Amisville, VA. Near Warrenton, Culpeper. Rate, $250 a day. 200 plus 50 for travel. Additional travel lodgings not provided. So, looks like they could be getting ready for a false flag over in the US. British tourists struck down by mystery bug feared to be coronavirus. Well, that stinks to me straight away. I've got a friend in the Philippines. And he says they've been pushing this non-stop. And whenever the media is pushing a particular thing, you know there's an agenda behind it. And if there is coronavirus, it was probably released by the governments to scare people. A British tourist is feared to be the first Western victim of the pneumonia-like coronavirus sweeping China. Ash Shawley, 32, is fighting for his life after being rushed to hospital in Phuket after the mysterious bug infected both his lungs while he was on Koh Phi Phi Island in Thailand. Although doctors cannot confirm what the illness is, they have found that his symptoms are consistent with the Chinese coronavirus, according to The Sun. Shawley, from Lancashire, was only 1 week into his travels around Southeast Asia when he was struck down with the virus on the 27th of December. Surgeons reportedly had to drain 2 kilograms of fluid from the backpacker's collapsed lungs. Ash Shawley, 32, is in the hospital in Phuket after contacting a pneumonia-style bug while he was on holiday in Koh Phi Phi Island. His parents, Chris and Julie Shawley, both 55, flew to Thailand to be by his bedside. Chris of Thornton, Lancashire, told The Sun he was 2 days from death. We are now waiting on tests. It is very serious. Chris, a publisher, added, if he was so fit and healthy before, he wouldn't be with us now. They think he is the first Western victim of the Chinese flu, We are waiting on tests. China coronavirus news live. Superspreader. Fears intensify as 291 cases confirmed and death toll from outbreak grows. This stinks. This stinks of a put-up job, this does. Heightened precautions are being taken in China and elsewhere as governments attempt to control the outbreak of the novel coronavirus that is threatening to grow during the Lunar New Year travel rush. Anxiety around the disease have intensified after it was revealed the virus, which appears to have originated from the central Chinese city of Wuhan, can be spread between humans. Authorities had previously said there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission. Probably doesn't, and they're probably making it up just to try and scare everyone again. So far, 4 people have died and more than 200 others have been infected, following the latest updates below. So 4 people have died. Thousands have died from vaccine poisoning. Key points. Authorities targeting so-called super spreaders. State media confirms 291 cases. 6 people reported dead. It was 4 a minute ago, now it's 6. Human-to-human transmission confirmed. I think they're talking a pack of lies, to be honest with you. Countries in Asia and elsewhere have begun body temperature checks at airports, railway stations and along highways in hopes of catching people carrying the coronavirus. In Japan, where 1 case has been detected, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe urged officials to step up quarantine checks at airports and other entry points, with many visitors from China expected to arrive during the Lunar New Year holiday. Exposed. The full story behind why marijuana is illegal and classified as a Schedule 1 drug. The other day, our team got together and discussed the censorship of medical marijuana knowledge. Despite the multitude of studies supporting the medical benefits of cannabis, not much is changing and the plant remains illegal. To help us understand why this news isn't getting covered, let's go over the history of the prohibition of cannabis. This might provide some insight as to why news editors are killing stories about curing cancer with cannabis, and why the government is still handing out lifetime jail sentences to dispensary owners for selling the possible cure to cancer to sick and dying patients. Marijuana has been used since the beginning of our recorded history. We've made a number of things such as paper, fabric, crops, building materials, proteins, rope, fuel and medicine. Not to mention oils made from the plant are the most medicinally active substances ever found. That is exactly why it is illegal. It all came down to a vicious fight for billion-dollar markets that took place in the early 1900s. The story behind why cannabis is illegal. In 1913, Henry Ford opened his famous automobile assembly line to start producing the Model T. In the 1930s, Ford opened a plant in Michigan where they successfully experimented with biomass fuel conversion, proving that hemp could be used as an alternative to fossil fuels. They extracted methanol, charcoal fuel, tar, pitch, ethyl acetate and creosote, all from hemp. What this meant for Ford was that he could now not only produce their own raw materials to make cars, but he could make the fuel to run them as well. The discovery was horrible news for a man by the name of Andrew Mellon, who owned much of the Gulf Oil Corporation, a company who had just recently opened their first drive-through gas station. Andrew Mellon was the Secretary of the Treasury under President Herbert Hoover and owner of the 6th largest bank at the time, Mellon Bank. His bank was the primary financial support of a petrochemical company by the name of DuPont. DuPont was developing the patenting many different forms of synthetic from fossil fuels, including the synthetic rubber, plastic, rayon and paint that GM used to coat their cars. However, Mellon Bank was mostly heavily invested in DuPont's sulfur-based products of turning wood fibre into usable paper. In 1916, melon investments began to look like a money pit when the US Department of Agriculture chief scientist processed paper from hemp pulp and concluded that paper from hemp was favourable in the comparison with those made from wood pulp. The paper produced by hemp fibres did not yellow over time, unlike the chemical-drenched paper that was being produced at the time. In addition, an acre of hemp produced more paper than an acre of regular trees. Strangely enough, the actual production of hemp fibre in the US continued to decline until 1933 to around 500 tonnes per year. That is no coincidence. If you want to read the rest of that, because it goes on with several other subjects as usual, the links are in the description. Landmark study shows half of cancer patients are killed by chemo, not cancer. No matter how much doctors push the treatment, chemotherapy might be the best option in the fight against cancer, as a new study shows up to 50% of patients are killed by the drugs, not the disease itself. It's actually over 97%, because chemotherapy has an over 97% failure rate. Researchers for Public Health England and Cancer Research UK performed a groundbreaking study examining for the first time the numbers of cancer patients who died within 30 days of beginning chemotherapy, indicating the treatment, not the cancer, was the cause of death. Looking at those death rates in hospitals across the UK, researchers found an alarming mortality rate associated with chemotherapy. Across England, around 8.4% of patients with lung cancer and 2.4% of breast cancer patients died within a month, the Telegraph reported. But in some hospitals, the figure was far higher. In Milton Keynes, the death rate for lung cancer treatment was 50.9%, although it was based on a very small number of patients. Alarmingly, the 1 month mortality rate at Lancashire Teaching Hospital for those undergoing palliative rather than curative chemotherapy for lung cancer was a full 28%. 1 in 5 breast cancer patients receiving palliative care at Cambridge University hospitals died from the treatment. If you don't know now, chemo kills you. Doesn't cure anyone or anything. Dutch cartoonists can see what's happening to the UK even if its citizens can't. This cartoon in Dutch newspaper Volkskrant doesn't pull its punches. It shows Boris Johnson, his back to us, rapping, that's right, rapping the UK while... Or should that be raping? Yeah, I'm going to go with raping. Yeah, raping the UK, while other include Jacob Rees-Mogg, Dominic Cummings and Nigel Farage wait their turn to do the same. The other one may be Michael Gove, according to a commenter to the site. Meanwhile, the representative of the BBC, who looks uncannily like the granny from the Old Times Jill's cartoon, tells members of the public, "Move along now, nothing to see here. The situation it depicts is even worse when that displayed on the billboards." Why can't we see? Well, I know we can, but why can't everyone else see it now? I mean, it's not difficult. You do the slightest bit of research and you find everything that's going on. The Guardian. Perilous time ahead for BBC as Director General says he will quit. Oh dear. We have an opportunity to at least begin the debate about the future of the licence fee. No, we don't need the licence fee. It should be banned immediately. China virus can travel between humans. Vast dust storm sweeps across a parched land. The scum. And this is how you know this is a distraction to distract you from pedo Andy. Beaming Meg out with Archie. Harry flies back to family. The joy of Sussex. Daily fail. As Harry flies to Canada to earn millions, Queen's eldest grandson revealed to be treading on his status in TV ads. Royal Peter for hire in China. British royal family member Peter Phillips. The Times. British economy will grow faster than Eurozone rivals says IMF. Queen's aide warns Harry and Meghan over royal title. Academic reveals her ordeal in Iranian jail. Cambridge educated lecturer smuggles out letters. Mirror. The picture every Jen and Brad fan wanted to see. 106 billion fears for HS2 as bill set to soar. Murders shock claim. Bamber, new evidence gives me alibi. He says he was outside horror house with cops while killer still alive inside. Utter waste of paper. Friends reunited. Snorker stinkers will let RIP for a year. Jokers vow fart-based chaos at sports events. Metro. The end of an era. Wills and Kate in the hosting hot seat as Harry set to jet off. Boris blitz on terror. Longer sentences on no early release for dangerous offenders. Lie detector tests to check if fanatic have really reformed. Well, let's take them lie detectors and fit them to the House of Commons. Then they'll all be in jail. Telegraph or telegraph. Terrorists to be denied early release from prison. Tougher punishment for most dangerous offenders to stop repeat of London Bridge. Well then, every bleeding MP would be in jail. Come fly with me. Harry jets off after meeting PM. Hunt for treasonous inside the Titanic angers government. UK will outperform Eurozone, says IMF. Hall quits BBC ahead of licence fee row. West look to reduce troops based in Iraq. Rugby clubs exploit salary gap loophole. Battle Royal fears over Sussex brand. New logo for Duke and Duchess could face legal wrangle. BBC shocker as Director General quits. HS2 rail opposed by new Tory MPs in North. I'll come back to that. I've been with the same partner for 25 years. How did I get HPV? Lie detector test and longer jail terms planned for terrorists. Well, maybe he didn't stick with you. The breasts with two backs when filming wildlife turns triple X rated. We could be in prison if it wasn't for music. British hip hop duo Crept and Knona. Yeah. Newly elected Conservatives want high speed link scrapped and money to be spent instead on upgrading local transport. How about getting the people that are on the streets off the streets? Stopping people having to go to food banks by giving them some money so they don't have to go to food banks. Oh, no. We've got to keep the infrastructure going. No, we don't. We should be looking after the men, women and children. Never mind the infrastructure. Once they're sound and happy and warm and fed, then yeah, we can look at the rest of the shit. But either way, we don't want the corrupt bastards in Parliament giving it out wherever they decide to give the money out. Close to 60 MPs have joined group committed to stopping project after leaked report estimates cost of £106 billion. Northern political leaders warned government that it would be fundamentally unacceptable to ditch all part of HS2. Express. Brad and Jennifer, friends reunited. Terrorists won't be freed early, vows Patel. Good, because you're all terrorists in government, every one of you. Brussels puts off Brexit negotiations until March. Oh, we're going back a further, are we? What a shock. Anger as EU drags feet over trade talks. Well, let's just cut it off and go. Leave them everything. They have nothing. They don't deserve anything. Cut everything from them. It's back to business for Will and Kate. Parasites. FT. Fears rise over Chinese flu. Downbeat IMF outlook diverts Davos focus from climate goals. Global forecast reined in. Economic forum overshadowed bid foiled to look beyond profit. BBC Director General Hall steps down as political heat rises on broadcaster. And finally, when Harry met Sally. When I die, I want to die like my grandfather, who died peacefully in his sleep, not screaming in terror like the rest of the passengers in the car. When you take your grandma to a Chinese restaurant. Went to the hospital today to have a mole removed from my penis. The RSPCA let me off with a caution. Did you know you can't breathe when you're smiling? Just kidding, I just wanted to make you smile.